QTEEP, why aren't you doing Reddit Am I the Asshole stories as much anymore? I'll tell you, brother. It's real simple. It got boring. Like 100% it got boring. And the thing is, when it comes to any Reddit story time type stuff, it has the same issue that reaction content has. When you blow up to a certain point, you can get away with like throwing your opinions into a thing. But when you're small, I've noticed there's a lot of people that really just kind of want like with reaction videos, they just want somebody to just kind of sit there and occasionally laugh. Like pausing is a huge, and even reactors that are big, like Dante, he consistently, he still gets comments about how he pauses too much, and he's a huge creator. So you can imagine if you're a small creator, you have like no, I don't want to say clout, but you don't have the, you know, you don't have the community to really get away with these types of things. Sometimes Reddit the asshole, am I the asshole, can kind of be a similar situation, but I think my big problem is that it's just boring, right? There's been many times since the new year started, really since we moved into this house, that I'll take a week or two off of going on Reddit and reading Am I the Asshole stories, right? And then I'll sort by top for the past month, thinking like, surely there has to be a super interesting story that is, I don't know. And it doesn't even have to be super interesting, but maybe there's something that's like polarizing. So I can have like a take that kind of goes against the norm or maybe not. But every single time it's like, you know, am I the asshole for not wanting to get hit by my wife, right? Like I'm tired of her smacking me around. Am I the asshole for saying, stop smacking me around? And it's like, very obviously, no, you're not in this situation, but it's like, it's getting upvotes. Like it's making it to the top. It's getting the flares thrown in. And I can't tell you how many times, like if you think it's been limited, trust me when I say this, I've sat down and gotten ready to record Am I the Asshole stories and just thrown out so many because it's just like, there's nothing I can do with this because it's like, either it'll be so blatantly obvious that it's like, it's crazy that the person is even asking if they're the asshole in that situation because they very clearly are, they very clearly aren't. Or it'll just be something that's just like such a non-issue. Like that it'll be like, am I the asshole for using red coloring instead of blue on the cake because I made the cake and I found out that the son who's was just born is a son and I used red and they're thinking red is too close to pink, which is a girl's color. And I'll read a story like that and I'll think like, who, like, I don't want to say who cares, but like, you know, and there are some, don't get me wrong, that get that kind of feeling of like, oh boy. But it kind of reaches a point where it's like, it's just boring. And like I said, I kind of went through the same thing when it came to reactions as well, because, and don't get me wrong, there was quite a few times where people were subbing because they just genuinely liked the fact, like they love the yapping. But when you're kind of small, one of the hardest things is when your video kind of blows up a smidge and then you get a lot of people who are like not into it. And I guess you really shouldn't care. I guess you should just upload it anyways and take all the comments about like no pausing. I hate pausing. You should take those comments and keep them because they push your videos in the algorithm. But I guess I also just kind of get bored, you know? I think another issue that I had is that there's like 2 or 3 meme compilation channels. Like the memes from Dante channel always had great meme compilations. Magikarp always had great meme compilations. And there were a couple others too. But people would recommend memes to me. And, you know, it's not to knock anybody. Like, not everyone is, I guess, as terminally online. But I would see memes from like 2 or 3 years ago. And it's like, I can't really do a reaction. Like, some people were sending in, like, oh, here's a meme compilation from 2019. And it's like, I've seen 90% of these memes in some way over the past, you know, it's 2025. We're talking 6 years. That's right, baby. 6 years. Crazy what the pandemic did. You know what I mean? the pandemic definitely made 2020 to 2025 feel like nothing, at least to me. It's kind of crazy. But like I can't there's nothing I can do with that. Um but I've been having more fun kind of going back to just yapping and talking about like GNX or the halftime show or just random stuff. And maybe even potentially like I talked about, I was talking about academics because, I mean, look at how much he suffered by being a weirdo. Not at all, because he's a roach. You know what I mean? Stuff like that is potentially where I would like to go, but I don't have as much free time as I once did either. You know what I mean? Like I'm probably the least terminally online person you could know because like I'm checking Reddit on the toilet, but like if I'm out somewhere, I'm not opening up the Reddit app. Like maybe if I'm not driving in the car or if I'm like on a plane, I'll open up Reddit because there's literally nothing else to do. But if I'm at home, I could be hanging out with the dog. There's chores around the house. I could be working out. I could be even playing video games. You know what I mean? As opposed to just scrolling through Reddit. I think that's the thing right now. So it's just not as, and maybe I could take recommendations from people. Like maybe people could be like, hey, you should check out this one. It has this title or whatever, because YouTube is weird about links. You could check out this one. It has this title, or there's a good story there. It's like one of the top stories this week, blah, blah, blah. You could talk about that. Maybe so. But I just never really felt while I was doing the Reddit adventures type video, unless it was like subreddit drama. Those were always fun to me because the subreddits that get super dramatic, like making fun of the Drizzy sub, always very entertaining to me. And they're going through their whole thing because Drake put out an album with Party Next Door, and they're back in their whole like, it's music for men that get bitches. Now, of course, some of these profiles you see other posts from them, and they're like, "Why is it so hard to find love now?" It's like, okay, well, they're getting bitches, but not really. They're living vicariously through Drake and Party Next Door because they do get bitches, but it doesn't really pass on to the listener. It's not one of those kinds of experiences. But I mean, yeah, that's how I feel about it. I've been streaming a little bit more often. I've been trying to deal with my anger issues. I really need to work on that. I feel like if I can solve my issues with anger, then we could probably be billionaires. The only reason I say that is because I think my anger holds me back so much, even on simple things like getting better at a video game. Sometimes I feel like I get really held back by the fact that I get super angry and I don't learn anything because it's easier to get angry and blame someone else for something than it is to just be like, let's slow down. Let's not get angry. Let's analyze how I could have done that better. You know what I'm saying? Probably one of my biggest issues, but that's what's going on with the Reddit Am I the Asshole posts. Might still upload some, but dropping them off dramatically and just, who knows, just talking about things that are going on because it's more fun. And I could also just be more chill doing that and maybe more entertaining, funnier. I don't know.